In the opening cutscene, first they show the KID logo, and then directly after that, there's a second logo that says SDR Project. Now, when you first see that, when you first boot the game, well, at least when I first saw it, when I first boot the game, I didn't think much of it. I just thought that was just some other brand. But we now learned in the story that Sora is an SDR. So it's actually a meta thing. It's like a trick. But anyway, yeah, that's all I can say. It's like this is a production being put on within the universe in which it exists by the SDR Project. Well, don't have much to say at the beginning of this one, so we'll just jump right into it. It was nighttime. In the ocean, it was only slightly darker than before. Fortunately, the damage to Lemu hadn't worsened. I had a light dinner, eating the chicken sandwich that Takeshi had made. Incidentally, we had gotten rid of that frozen tuna because nobody knew how to cut it up. After eating, there was really nothing to do. That's a very unrealistic yawn, used voice actor. Takeshi's voice actor did a little bit better. How do I do this? I can't do it. Still not the best. Terrible. Also terrible. Takeshi's yawn was contagious. It was also the best voice acted.
それにしても眠いね。
Gosh, I'm sleepy.
まあな、特にこれといってすることもないし。
Well, there's really nothing to do either. Everyone was slouched in chairs, just spacing out. There was no impending danger, no new developments. Well, 5 days from that morning, you're going to get smooshed. These characters are goofy. Oh, if we only had 1 day left to live, then we'd be panicking, but because we have 5 days left to live, oh, it's okay. Our situation was unchanged, and it felt like time had stopped.
グラナリだらしないぞ。
Takeshi, you're such a slob. You said, but she sounded tired.
だらだらするなよ。
Stop dawdling.
でもな、今さら館内をうろうろ歩き回ったって大した意味はないだろ。
Look, there's no reason to go wandering around the complex now, right?
結局、助けが来るまで待つしかないんじゃないか。
We're just going to have to wait for help to come anyway, right?
あ、そう。
Yeah, I suppose.
ああ、さてさて、私はちょっくら出かけてきますかね。ご一緒。
Alright, I'm off for a little bit. Rubbing her neck and trying to relax her stiff shoulders, you stood up.
あれ先輩、どこ行くんですか？
What, are you going somewhere?
どこってわけじゃないけど、散歩にでも。
Yeah, nowhere in particular, just a walk.
体動かさないと余計に疲れるのよね、私。
You've got to move around or I'll get tired.
あ、拙者いいこと思いついたでござるよ。
Hey, I've got a great idea. Sora raised her hand and stood.
いいこと？
An idea?
みんなで体を動かすような遊びをするでござる。
Ladies and gentlemen, we shall partake in a game to give us some exercise.
いいけど、例えばどんな遊び？
What kind of game?
忍者ごっこ。
Ninja tag.
それはちょっとね。
That might be a bit.
鬼ごっこなんてどうですか？
Well, what about normal tag? You always win, Sora, so because you can teleport essentially. Sora seemed up for the idea.
まあそれならいいかな。よ
I suppose that would be okay.
しみんなでやろう。
Alright, everybody, let's play.
おいおい、なんでそんな子供の遊びなんかを。
Hey, hey, you expect to play some kids game?
ところで少年はどうする？もち参加するよね。
What about you, kid? In or out? What? Me too?
だってみんな参加するって言ってるんだよ。少年もやらなきゃ。
We've been talking about everyone participating, so you're playing too.
私は参加しないわ。
I'm not going to play.
ちなみに俺もだ。
I'm out too.
もとい。つぐみ以外のみんなは参加するって言ってるんだよ。
I meant that everyone apart from Tsumugi is playing anyways.
俺も不参加だって。
I said I'm out. Alright, I'm in. I was pretty much sick of the boredom.
よーし決まりね。
Alright, it's settled.
田中選手、松永選手、赤根ヶ崎選手、倉成選手、少年選手。以上5名の方がエントリーされました。
We have 5 competitors vying for the title of champion. You, Sara, Sora, Takeshi, and Kid. Well, I mean, if you just tag Takeshi and sit there and do nothing, so what would be the point of doing that?
でも、ただの鬼ごっこっていうだけじゃつまらないと思いません？
And you can't really win at tag. You can only lose, because you can only be the person it when the game happens to end because it gets interrupted by something like the end of recess. There's one loser and then several winners. But don't you think that normal tag will be boring?
そうね。
You're right.
缶蹴りにしてみてはいかがでしょう？
How about kick the can? Sora, you sure have a good grasp of simple games like this? Well, here in the United States, kick the can is a euphemism for dying. So if you play the game kick the can, that would seem like playing the game of dying.
そういうんじゃなくて、何かこう変わった思考が欲しいのよね。
Not that something a little out of the ordinary. We all thought. And then...
仕方ないわね。
Oh well. I was planning on saying something, then I got nervous and decided not to. Tsumugi stood up from her chair sluggishly. That would be something Tsumugi would be thinking, not me, not what something that I would be thinking. She walked briskly towards the corner of the room and flipped out the light switch.
なんだよいきなり。暗いじゃないか。
What are you thinking? It's dark.
どう？これで気が済んだ？
How about that? Satisfied?
もううんざり。
I'm fed up.
私までおかしくなりそうだわ。
Even I am about to go crazy. Tsumugi shot us a nasty look and left the room.
何？あれ。
What was that about?
さあ。
Who knows?
騒がしいのが気に障ったのでしょうか。
Maybe we were talking too much for her. But still, why turn out the lights?
私までって、おかしいのはあいつの方だろ？
What does she mean, even her? She's the one that's lost it. Well, she planned for them, she planned for the other 4 characters to go crazy, correct?
でもまあ、時間が経てば、ちゃんとまた戻ってくるさ。
But she'll be back after a while.
ねえ少年、悪いんだけど電気つけてきてくれる？
Hey kid, would you mind getting the light? Sure. I went to go switch on the lights.
ちょっと待って。
Wait. What is it? Well, she's gonna say, why don't we play tag in the dark? That would be more fun.
せっかくだからこのままでやろうか。
Since the lights are off, why don't we try the game with them off?
暗いところで鬼ごっこ。じゃないや、缶蹴りをするの。
No play tag. No, kick the can in the dark. Sora took one of the empty cans from the table.
名付けて、闇鬼。
We'll call it Yamioni.
面白そうじゃない。それで決定。
That sounds cool. Let's go with that.
私も賛成です。
Sure. It's a bit more exciting than normal tag. Except how can Sora kick a can?
当然、クラナリも OK だよね。
Of course, Takeshi's good with it, right?
たく、しょうがねえな。
Geez, whatever. So we unanimously agreed, except for Tsumugi, to play kick the can in the dark. We decided who was it using rock, paper, scissors.
せーの、チッケピ。
Oh, they translate it now. I forgot how it goes though.
負けた。
I lost. Takeshi was out on the first try, which is good because you don't want to be it.
さあ、クラナリが最初の鬼ってことで、決定。
Okay, that's how it works. Alright, so Takeshi is it first.
決定。
Then it's settled.
頑張ってくださいね。
Good luck. Everyone was grinning at Takeshi. Takeshi looked about as sorry as it was possible for him to look. Here you go, Takeshi. Handed the empty can to Takeshi.
でもって隠れられるエリアはこの3回全部。よーし、みんな隠れるぞ。
Hiding anywhere is okay as long as it's on the third floor. Okay, let's hide.
よーい。
Ready? I guess they're gonna have to make a decision on where to hide.
ちょっと待った。
Wait a sec. Takeshi held up a hand hurriedly, stopping you from sending everyone off.
いいお前、今なんて言った？
You, what did you just say?
隠れるぞ。
Let's hide.
違う、その前。
But before that,
隠れられるのは3回全部。
you can hide anywhere on this third floor.
マジかよ。
Are you serious?
会議室の中とかじゃなくてか？
Not just the conference room?
この部屋だけじゃ狭いし、隠れられるとこが少ないじゃない。
This room is too small and there aren't that many places to hide.
だからって3回全部かよ。
But the whole third floor? Oh, I was so confused about the floors. I thought the conference room was on the third floor, but then I thought that they had to go down to get to the generator room, so then it was actually on the second floor. Presuming that third floor is the deepest floor, right? But now apparently it's the third floor. Okay, well, whatever.
もちろん、ここから歩いていけないエリアはダメだよ。非常通路とか階段に隠れるのもなし。
Of course, the areas you can't walk from here are off limits, and the emergency corridors and stairs are no good either.
それでも広すぎるわ。
That's still too big.
鬼が振りすぎる。一人探してる間に絶対他のやつにやられるぞ。
That's not fair to the person that's it. While he's looking, he's sure to get it from somebody else. How can you get it from when you're already it?
いいじゃない、そのくらい。
I think it's fine.
よくない。ゲームが成り立たない。切実な問題だ。
It's not fine. The game won't work. That's a major problem.
もう、文句が多いな。
Gosh, you sure complain a lot.
まあまあ、確かにハンデがありますね。そうですね。
Well, he would certainly appear to be at a disadvantage.
それでは、3階フロアの照明はすべて落としますが、代わりに音がよく聞こえるようにしましょうか。
I will dim the lights on the third floor, but in return, I will make it so that sounds carry better.
音が大きく聞こえれば、水のある通路を誰かが移動していればわかります。これなら鬼の人が有利ですね。
If sounds carry, then you can hear when someone moves across a corridor with water. That will give the person who is it an advantage. I don't know, it makes it easier to hear the person who's it too.
それから私も移動中の場所がわかるようにします。足音を合成して音声変換器に発信しますから。
And I will make it so that you know where people are moving. I will synthesize footsteps and dispatch the data to voice converters.
オッケー、そうしてくれ。
Alright, that sounds better.
あ、でも、もし缶にたどり着いたら、私どうしましょうか。
Oh, what should I do if I should get to the can first? Huh? Oh.
あ、そうか。ソーラは缶が蹴れないじゃねえか。
That's right, you can't kick the can. We'd only just noticed if we played tag, we'd have had to ban Sora from jumping about as an image.
じゃあ私がペアになってあげる。
Then I'll team up with you.
鬼ん時も逃げて隠れる時も空と私は常に半径1メートル以内にいなくちゃいけないってことにするの。
We'll make it so that Sora and I have to be within a yard of each other when we hide or when we are it. Except the Japanese would not use yard, so it probably says meter.
そうすれば私が缶を蹴ればいいんだし。
So I can kick the can.
ね、そうしよう。
Okay, let's try it this way.
はい、お願いします。
Okay, thanks. On top of that, we made Sora promise not to use the bioskin or Limu to monitor the location of anyone. Yeah, that makes it fair then.
おーし、準備よーし。
Alright, all set. It looked like everyone was ready,
じゃあ数えるぞ。
so I'll count.
1、2、3。
Since he's counting upwards, we don't know where he's going to stop. As Takeshi started counting, we dashed out of the conference room. We left the room in a group. We're all close to the end of the day now. Okay, good. Splash, splash, splash. The sound of our stepping through water sounded deeper than before. I get it. So this is what she meant by making the sound bigger. I thought that we would have to pay attention to which sounds were our own and which others. And we'd have to determine which footsteps belonged to the person that was it. But for the person that was it was easier because everyone else was the enemy. That pretty much negated any advantage we might have had. At least that's what I thought. After we had run a fair bit...
はいストップ。
Okay, stop. You, who had been running at the front of the pack, stopped us. What's up?
先輩、早く隠れないと見つかっちゃいますよ。
Senpai, if you don't hide, he'll find you.
まあまあ、いいから話を聞きなさいって。
Don't worry about that, just listen, I'm going to do something troll.
何か作戦があるようですね。
It appears you have some kind of overly used word. That overly used word?
そう、その通り。
Yes, exactly right.
このまま普通に行けばバラバラになって隠れるだけなんだけど。
Yeah, strategy is such an overly used word, it makes me cringe. Severely.
それだと負ける可能性も高いわけじゃない？
I forgot entirely what Sora's line was there. Is there a backlog? But there's no backlog in Ever17. Whatever, I guess there's... But that's the way the game works, isn't it?
甘い！甘いぞ少年！ゲームといえども、男なら必ず勝ちを取りに行かねばならんのだ！
You're so naive. In games, a man is supposed to want to win. Well, it is no fun to play with people who do not want to win, yes. But aren't you supposed to be a girl, you? I stopped myself from saying that in the nick of time.
でも先輩、必ず勝つ方法なんてないですよ。
But senpai, there is no way to guarantee a win, right?
本当にそう思うのかね、マヨくん。
Mayo, is that what you really think? You said this as she played with Sora's braids. Well, hurry up and tell us already.
私たちにあって鬼にないもの、 それを検証すればおのずと答えは見えてくるでしょ。
If you'll think about what we have and what Takeshi doesn't, then you'll get it in a flash.
私たちにあって
I still don't know what the rules of kick the can are. If it's they have to kick the can before Takeshi tags them it, then why can't Takeshi just camp where the can is? What Takeshi doesn't.
人数ですね。鬼、倉成さんは一人だけです。
Numbers. We are many, Takeshi is one.
イエス、その通り。
Yes, that's it. I always say I get it, even if I don't. Because, I mean, yeah, they could all come at him at different directions. You can only go one place, and so one of them has to win. But he could just camp exactly where the can is, right? Maybe I just don't understand the rules of this game, because they didn't explain them. Oh, I get it. We'll try to win by sheer numbers.
そう、私たちがいっぺんに押しかければ鬼は手も足も出ないはずなの。
Yep, if we all mob together, then there is nothing the person that's it can do.
誰かが見つかったとしても、すぐに別の誰かが缶を蹴ってしまうわけですね。
So if somebody gets found, somebody else just kicks the can.
その人が見つかっても、すぐにまた別の誰かが缶を蹴る。
If that person gets caught, then somebody else kicks the can.
うん、そうやって一斉に集中砲火を浴びせれば鬼は攻撃を防ぎきれないでしょ。
That's right, if we all get there at once and unleash an attack, Takeshi won't be able to defend, right?
なるほど。
Oh, I get it.
ってことで総員一旦散開した後会議室の缶めがけて突撃。
So after we've all split up, we'll aim for the can and charge the conference room.
缶を蹴ったらすぐに離脱。
After kicking the can, we'll separate again immediately.
そのヒットアンドウェイの繰り返しで勝利はこっちのものよ。
By repeating this hit and run, we'll win. But isn't that kind of cheating? It's what they would call against the spirit of the game, which, because it's so ill-defined, if you have a game where you can do things that are against the spirit, you need to change the rules so that it becomes more defined. If you get what I mean.
そんなことないって。物量作戦は傭兵の基本よ。デフォルトよ。
Not at all. Attacking with overwhelming numbers is a basic military strategy. So it's kind of like violence by the masses?
民主主義作戦って言って。
Or democratic strategy? Whatever.
民主主義多数決。
In a democracy, the majority rules, which we all know is not necessarily a good thing.
つまり勝者は弱者よ。
In other words, those with less numbers are weak. That's why the United States is not a pure democracy. But some people don't understand that. As we separate, because it's like more people doesn't necessarily mean that's the policy that should be implemented. I go, but what else metric would you use to decide? How are you going to decide which are the who is it to decide who's the smart people you should listen to and who's the people you shouldn't? Yeah, let's just hold off on that for now. So we separated and all aimed for the conference room via different routes. But our footsteps were sure loud. Still, if we didn't hurry, Takeshi would find us. I just hoped that someone would get there and kick the can before he found me.
ほら、誰だ?
This scene is stupid. Who is that? Oops. Suddenly Takeshi's voice rang out behind me. I was so concerned with the sound of my own footsteps I didn't hear him approach. At this distance, there is no way I could get away. I gave up. Oh no, you caught me. Am I the first one?
ああ、
Yup. Dang, that means if you catch everyone, then I'm it next.
多分そういうことになるな。
I reckon so. I wonder if someone will show up to help me. Takeshi, if you don't go step on the can, then I'll go kick it.
お前って缶蹴りのルールはちゃんと知ってるんだな。
You sure know your kick the can rules? Whack. Crash.
うわー
Oop. Splash. Suddenly, Yu came flying from the side and completely sideswiped Takeshi with a jumping cross chop to the neck. I don't know how Kick the Can works still. I still don't understand the rules of this game. Takeshi's head had gone underwater. Yu was pointing at the submerged Takeshi and cackling crazily. Takeshi, floundering in the water, stood up.
お前だ
Hey, you.
この勝負もらった
Hehe, I won this battle.
ふざけんな待ちやがれ
Hey, you, wait.
待てと言われて待てますかっての
Wait for you to catch me? No thanks.
おのれ突き飛ばされた恨み腹さで置くべきか
Ambiguously, though it is not capitalized. I'll get you back for that, just you wait. Takeshi took off in a mad dash after you. Well, I guess I better go kick the can. I strolled leisurely to the conference room, and when I entered the room,
少年見っけカンフンだ
I found the kid. I stomped on the can. Takeshi pointed to me, declaring this. He was stepping on the can. Yu was near him and looked depressed. I guess you get to play as Takeshi during this, if you want to. It looked like she had lost. Oh no.
甘いぞユウ俺を出し抜くことはできん
Haha, did you really think you could outwit me?
ずるい蔵なり缶の場所変えたでしょ
Takeshi, you cheat. You changed the place of the can.
どこに置けとは言ってなかったろうがそっちもいきなりチョップかましたりしたんだお互い様だろ
Nobody said where we had to put the can, right? Besides, you smacked me, so I figured we're even.
はいはいそれにしても何を私が一番最初に缶踏んだされちゃったわけ
Alright. Whatever. Anyway, so I'm the first person you caught?
おうそうだぞ
You got it.
作戦失敗か
Well, that plan was sure a failure.
あ作戦
Huh? What plan? As they were talking, the sound of splashing footsteps could be heard approaching the door.
ただいま参
I'm here.
空と空見っけ
I found Sora and Sora. Takeshi stepped on the can.
あら、田中さん、先についてしまわれてたんですか
Did you get beaten here, you?
ちょっと予定ずれちゃったね
Things didn't quite work out as planned.
ナッキョ先輩が出ていくのちょっと早かったんじゃないですか
Nakyu, don't you think you jumped the gun just a little bit? You said we would all charge together.
作戦ってそれかよ
So that was your plan.
みんなで同時に缶に飛びかかれば防げないかなと思って
Yeah, I thought if we all went for the can at once, you wouldn't be able to stop us.
はあせこいこと考えるやっちゃな
That's pretty tricky.
えへへへへ
You really think so? You laughed mischievously and with a hint of embarrassment. We gathered in the center of the room.
さてと意外に簡単にみんな見つかったわけだが
Finding all of you was easier than I
ま
thought.
ず今みたいに結託して関係に来るのはやっぱ禁止な
First of all, mob style kicking up the can is definitely outlawed.
なんでよ
Huh? Why?
俺はともかくお前は防げるのか同時攻撃を
You think I can stop you if you all come attack at once?
無理っす
Impossible.
だからだだいたい面白くない
That's why it takes all the fun out of it.
鬼がタイミングを見計らって人を探しに行ったりその隙をついて他のやつが缶に接近したりその意味がなくなるだろ
Timing your rush just right for when the person who is it goes searching, all of that would disappear from the game.
へい了解です
Well, alright. You reluctantly agreed to be it the next time.
みんなもそれでいいな
Alright, everybody good with that? Sora, Sara, I, everyone nodded.
よしでは次は優が鬼だ
Okay, then you is it next.
空き缶はあっちにあるから自分で拾え。好きなとこに置いて数を数えて。
Kabing. That was, I think that was spontaneous. I didn't actually hit the enter key. Onomatopoeias. The sound of a can being kicked rang out in the darkness.
おい、誰だよ蹴ったの。
Hey, who kicked that? Tsumugi.
私じゃないよ
It wasn't me. Oh, maybe it was you. As soon as she got this out of her mouth, you started to run away.
あ、こら、てめえ
You scoundrel. We all scattered like scared butterflies.
なんだか知らないけどラッキ
I don't know what the deal is, but that was lucky. You said that as she ran.
間一髪でしたね。
That was a close call. But who kicked the can? All four of us had been found by Takeshi. The rules were that anyone caught couldn't kick the can.
私でもないし、先輩でもない。空は最初から蹴ることができない。
It wasn't me or Nakyu, and Sora can't kick. I didn't kick it. Oh, is it gonna be Coco? It's either Tsumugi or Coco.
小松さんではないでしょうか。
You don't suppose it was Tsumugi, do you?
ーつぐみがまさか
Tsumugi? No way.
でも、それしか考えられないよね。
But that's the only possibility. I wonder if Tsumugi wanted to play the whole time.
きっと照れていたのでしょう。
She was probably just embarrassed to say so. That could have put a new, almost adorable twist on her personality.
あったらお礼言わないとね。
Well, we'll have to thank her when we see her. Sora laughed happily as she said this.
さてここで解散しよっか
Alright, let's split up. You proposed this as we reached a T in the corridor.
そうでござるなではご分を
Yeah, let's split up. Good luck.
また後で会いましょうね。
Okay, we'll meet up later. You went left, and Sora went to the right. Choice? Okay, so when I played Never 7, the first route I went on was the default route. It's the route you ended up on if you did not complete all the specific tasks needed to get down one of the more difficult routes to end up on. And that's fine because that was probably the second best route in the game. But I'd much rather this time go for a more, try to actually get a more obscure route, one of the more obscure routes in the game my first try, because that's more fun, right? Just getting the blasé route, that's no fun. You seems like she is most likely to be the default girl. Sora, on the other hand, seems like a little bit more difficult to go down a route with. Therefore, I'm going to try to target making Sora-focused decisions. So I'm going to go with Sora and Sora.
あら、少年さん？
Huh? Is that you, kid?
少年もこっちに来たの
Kid, you decided to come this way? Yeah, but where do you plan to hide?
一緒に逃げるなら君も考えて
If you're going to come with us, stay with us, you have to help us think of something. I ran with the two of them.
そうだいいこと考えちゃった
I know, I've got a great idea. Saying that, Sora stopped suddenly. What?
どうしたのですか？
What is it?
こういう時こそ忍法でござるよ
It's times like this that call for ninja skills. Ninja skills?
空殿竹潮氏が来たら RSD で無人の通路を表示してくだされ
Sora, when Takeshi comes through, Use RSD to show him an empty corridor.
名付けて科学忍法隠れみの。
This is known as the art of real-life Looney Tunes.
でもそれは、
But that would be... Isn't that against the rules?
硬いこと言わないの。瞬間移動や生体反応の検出は禁止にしたけど、レミ自体の使用は禁止されてないじゃん。
Don't be a spoil sport. We banned instant travel and bioscans, but not using limit, right? That's sneaky.
裏技って言ってよ。
In Lexicon of the Ninja, we call it a secret technique. No, I'm not having any of it.
申し訳ありませんが、私も賛成しかねます。
I'm sorry, but I'm afraid I can't agree either. What?
だったら科学忍法分身の術は？
How about the elite ninja doppelganger technique? Huh?
RSD で私たちを何体も表示してたけしを混乱させるの。
We can use RSD to make it appear that there are lots of us to confuse Takeshi. So, Oh, I keep forgetting the name. The Mask of Illusion effect. Oh, the Mahiki. You're gonna use RSD to make a Mahiki. That's the same thing.
レミを使う忍法はなしにしませんか？
Why don't we just say no ninja techniques using limit?
ちぇ、忍ともかんとも。
You two are such prudes. That might be a misuse of that word in translation, but okay. Just then,
誰か来る。
someone's here.
田中さんではないのですか？
It's probably you. Probably. We peered through the darkness in the direction of the sound. We made out the silhouette of a person. The build could only be... Yikes. No, it's Takeshi.
本当ですか？
What, really? Hurry, we've got to hide. We dashed down the corridor.
いけません。そっちは。
Oh no, that way is no good. The watertight door blocked our way forward. We are stuck.
行き止ま
And this is where we use one of Sarah's ideas. Dead end?
だから私は申し上げたのですが。
That's what I was saying. There was no room nearby that we could escape into. Like, even if she's not using limit to bring up the map of the facility, her memory is probably perfect, right? So she would still know. We should have hidden in a room somewhere. Takeshi was heading towards us for sure. At this rate, we would be caught for sure.
り。どうしよう、どうしよ
What are we going to
これ
do?
は観念するしかなさそうですね。
It looks like we have no choice but to give up. Sora was flustered. Sora resigned to fate. On the other hand, I was given a choice. No, not yet. At this distance, I decided that it would be better to make a dash for the nearest room. Let's go. I think we'll make it. I dragged Sora and Sora back down the corridor. We're not actually dragging Sora, but you're dragging Sarah, and Sora's tagging along because of the rules she agreed to. We found an entrance and dove into a room. But,
って少年じゃねえか。
hey, if it ain't the kid. Whoa, what happened? I couldn't believe it. He'd cut us off. It's no good. Go back.
う。どういうこと？
What do you mean? Just as we went to turn back to the corridor,
みっけ。
gotcha. There was Takeshi.
ああ。
見つかってしまいましたね。
He caught us.
まったく手こずらせやがって。
Geez, that took a long time.
もう少年が戻れなんて言うからだよ。
Oh, it's all because the kid said we should go back. But I didn't know what else to do. Can stomp. Not long after that, we found you as well. We met in the conference room. Why was the can stomp so prominent?
よし、あとはつぐみだけだな。
Alright, now I just need to get Samugi. Takeshi stepped on the can, looking satisfied.
にしても変なんだよな。
Still, it's kinda weird. Weird, what is?
さっき蹴られた缶なんだけど、缶はそのままだったんだよ。
The can, when it was kicked before, was still in the same place.
はあ、言ってること意味不明だよ。
Huh? I don't know what you're trying to say.
だから、蹴られたはずの缶がこうやって立ってたんだって。
I mean, the can should have been kicked, but it was still standing up. Takeshi said this as he squished the can some more.
まるで誰も蹴ってなかったみたいに。
It was like no one kicked it.
蹴られた缶が転がってそのまま起き上がったのではないでしょうか。理論上はありえます。
Isn't it likely that the can was toppled and righted itself? Theoretically, it is quite possible.
最初に置いてあった位置にか？
In the same place I put it.
それは変ですね。
That is odd.
そんなことよりも早くつぐみを探しに行かなくていいの？
But shouldn't we go looking for Tsumugi?
そうそう。負け惜しみはそのくらいにしなさいよ。
Yeah, if you're going to be a sore loser, you should at least go do that.
今負けてんのはお前らの方だろうが。
I'm not the loser here, you guys are.
はいはい、そうでした。そうでございましたよ。
Whatever, you're right, it's exactly as you say.
もう分かったから、さっさと探してきなさいって。
Got it already, now get out of here and search. You and Sora waved Takeshi away.
たく、なんて偉そうな。全然勝ってる気がしねえよ。
Geez, you're so full of yourself, it doesn't even feel like I won. Takeshi left the room grumbling. Soon after that, Kabing. Clatter, clatter, clatter. The sound of a can being kicked rang out in the darkness. That?
なんだかよくわかんないけど。
I have no idea, but
チャンス。
now is our chance.
いいのでしょうか。
Do you think we should? I wonder if it's okay. In the confusion, we made our third escape.
おい、見つかったやつが蹴ったらルール違反だろうが。
Hey, once you've been caught, it's against the rules to kick the can. We heard Takeshi shouting soon after. Of course, neither I, you, Sora, nor Sora, none of us had kicked the can. Oh, that had to be Tsumugi again. She probably sneaked into the room without anybody noticing. That was what we thought. Ultimately, Takeshi soon caught us again. He held that we had cheated and started out to find us right away, so we didn't get far. Takeshi checked to make sure everyone was there and stepped on the can, even once for Tsumugi. Next time, no one kicked the can.
今度は少年が鬼だからな。
This time the kid is it. Alright, so I count to 100, right? I took the can and sat in the chair with my face down. Alright, here I go. 1, 2, 3. Uno dos tres. Son. Something something son. Hana dual set. They left the conference room, fleeing around the floor. 100. I opened my eyes. I set the empty can by my feet. It was as far from the entrance as I could get it. Scanning the dark area around me, I didn't see anyone. Well, I guess I'll go looking. I decided to head off to check some rooms. Oh, this again. Do this first. The chicken sandwich shop. There was no sign of anyone there. Just in case, I peeked inside. Of course, there was no one there. This place was a waste of time. I decided to go elsewhere. I wondered where they'd hid. Got that out of the room. Elevator hall. It's another one that's probably nothing. The elevator hall. There was no sign of anyone. Just in case, I also checked in the elevator that Sora had been trapped in the day before. The elevator door was still open. Of course, there was no one inside. This place was a waste of time. I decided to go elsewhere. I wondered where they'd hid. Go back to the conference room now. I'd always periodically return to the conference room if I played this game just in case. I returned to the conference room. There was no sign of anyone there. The can stood silently where I had left it. Just in case, I looked in the corners of the room. Of course, no one was there. This place was a waste of time. I decided to go elsewhere. I wondered where they'd hid. Controls. We headed to the central control room. Who is we? I didn't know there was anyone there for any. I didn't think there was anywhere there for anyone to hide. Oh. The room was set up with the center surrounded by a giant monitor and console. There was Tsumugi. She sat slouched in her chair, staring blankly at the monitor. Tsumugi, I caught you. At my declaration, Tsumugi looked at me like I was a fly in her soup.
あのね、
She glared at me.
私は参加なんてしていない。
I'm not playing. Come on, you already kicked the can twice. Takeshi might have fallen for it, but not me. I stepped on the can just to be safe. I selected from the... I made for the rest area. At first it looked like there was no one there either. But then I noticed something. One of the stone pillar silhouettes in the open area was an odd shape. Well, the one on the far right? No, it was the top of the pillar that had something strange about it. Oh, this is probably for the game. There's probably nothing about the back. I'm like looking at the background trying to find it, but it's probably nothing to do with the background, actually. It's like I was like, what's wrong with this picture tricking myself? I edged closer. There was definitely something there. From where I was, I couldn't tell exactly what that something was, but it was definitely a person. Maybe they thought they were acting like a koala. What they intended to do if they fell. I mean, can you really call that hiding? I called out to the clinging something. Isn't that tiring? It sure looks dangerous. But you sure have a lot of guts. You're tougher than I thought, Takeshi.
うわなんで俺だと分かったんだ
How do you know it was me? Takeshi slid down the column. The only person stupid enough to hide there was Takeshi. I gotcha. I stepped on the can. Where else was left? In ruins. I wonder if always the last place you choose is the one where they are. There's like alternate ways of finding them. This attraction was designed with the motif of a lost continent believed to have sunk to the ocean floor ages ago. Standing there in the darkness in that eerie setting, it almost made me imagine that I had sunk to the bottom of the ocean. No, that was only half true. Scrunch. Huh? It sounded like a footstep. Is someone there? Just camped the entrance. I wondered if it were my imagination. It wasn't. In the darkness in the building in front of me, there's no backlog and I accidentally skipped a piece of dialogue. Boo. But in that light, and at that distance, I couldn't be sure who it was. It was like the person was holding their breath, waiting for me not to notice. But here she looked like she was ready to dash off in an instant. I thought that if I bumbled closer, the person would run away. I'd have to figure out who it was from afar. It had to be you. I found you. As if it had given up, the silhouette started towards me.
どうしてわかったの？
How'd you know it was me? Bingo. It looked like my hunch had paid off. Can stop. Only Sora and Sora remained. I walked around Dreetstock looking for the two of them. I heard footsteps in the direction of the conference room. I'm sure it was Sora. Gosh, I hope she isn't planning to kick the can. I made a mad dash for the conference room. At the entrance of the room, the two of them just stood at the door. Sora and Sora. I sprinted into the room on my heels. I gotcha, Sora and Sora. But Sora just ignored me and kept running. Her eyes were on the can. As if she knew where the can was. I thought I changed the location of the can. I also ran towards the can. Would you kick the can first? Or would I step on it first? Wah! The two of us tumbled to the floor. Ouch. Ow. Bone tangle. Oh. The next thing that I noticed, I was on top of Sora. Sora's eyes were open, staring at me. I barely managed to support my body with my arms so I didn't come into contact with her, but her face was closer to me than I had ever imagined. I felt like I might be sucked into her eyes and was captivated by her cute nose, slightly open lips, and glimpse of her tongue. I felt her breath in on my face. She had been running until that time, and I felt the heat rising from her skin. It smelled like sweat. The smell of her sweat mixed together. I felt the warmth of her body against me. It was hard to breathe. My mind started to go blank. My whole body stiffened and I couldn't move. Sora proceeds to kick the can with one of her legs sticking out. It was as if our bodies are paralyzed as we lay there staring at each other. The can's gonna get kicked like any minute here. Sarah slowly raised up her cheek. Uh-oh, danger, she's mad. This was not what I should have been worrying about. The can, where was the can? I turned my neck searching for the can. There it was. I jumped off of Sora, pointed to her, and declared loudly, Sarah, Sora, I gotcha. And I stepped on the can triumphantly. This was the last stepping on the can.
それにしても瞬殺だったな。
Jeez, he slaughtered us.
倉成さんの半分以下の時間でしたね。
That was twice as fast as Takeshi.
俺が鬼ん時は反則が多すぎたんだっつうの。
I was it. Everyone was cheating.
でもこんなに暗いのにドンピシャで名前当てまくるなんてすっごい勘だよね。
Wow, I can't believe you guessed everybody right in the dark. It's pretty amazing. Everyone crowded around me and started making a fuss.
先輩、どういうことですか？
Nakyu, Senpai, what are you talking about?
あ、マヨは知らないのか。この子ね。
No, you don't know this kid? As you placed her hand on my head, she explained how I had caught her in Takeshi.
おいつぐみ、いい加減白状したらどうだ？お前もこっそり参加してたんだろ。
Samugi, give it up. Why don't you just come out and admit you were playing too? At some point, Samugi had returned to the conference room. Samugi sat in a chair pretending to be asleep and ignored Takeshi. I felt someone watching me and turned around. Sora was looking at me strangely. I thought she might be angry again. It was just an accident. I avoided her look uncomfortably. That was the end of Kick the Can. In the end, it remained a mystery who kicked the can those times. We passed the rest of the night uneventfully. I wonder if this game doesn't ever reveal it. Just left ambiguous at the end. Who kicked the can? It was a peaceful time, and I decided to enjoy a satisfying rest. There's tag. The next day. Okay, splash. I scooped up water with both hands and splashed it on my face. The instant it made contact, it sent a sharp shock to my brain. Gah! I snapped open my eyes, completely awake. I thought I had probably repeated this ritual several thousands of times. It was my way of refreshing myself in the morning. I lifted my face and wiped it with the towel. A smooth white counter, a sink, and a finely cracked mirror. I stared foggily at my reflection in the mirror. I passed Takeshi as I was returning to the corridor. Hey.
おはよう、少年。
Morning, kid. Hey, don't look so depressed, Takeshi.
そんなことはねえよ。まだ眠いだけだ。
No, I'm just tired is all. You're one to talk. Well, a lot's happened in the last couple of days. Are you tired?
大丈夫だって。ちょっと眠気覚ましてくる。じゃあな。
I just need to wake up is all. See ya. Saying that, he headed off to the bathroom. So there is a bathroom. There's just no background for it. And no recording of it being used until now. Sora and you were waiting in the conference room. Good morning. Good morning. The two of them seemed wired. Morning.
なんだ少年、元気ないぞ。まだ目が覚めてないとか？
Hey kid, you don't seem very good. You have trouble waking up. No, I'm awake.
本当に？
You sure?
あ、わかった。少年って低血圧なんでしょ。私もそうなんだよ。
I know. He's not a morning person, or maybe he's hypotensive, like me. I don't know about that. Sora sure didn't seem to have a problem with mornings. I was just glad that Sora appeared to be in a good mood.
わかる。朝は辛いよね。なんていうか、生き地獄ってやつ？今まで目覚まし時計を何個叩き壊したことか。
I know all about it. I hate mornings. They are like hell on earth. I have destroyed more alarm clocks than I can count.
迷って寝起きがすこぶる悪いよね。今朝なんか早く絞め殺されるかと思ったよ。
Mayo is always in the worst mood in the morning. I thought she would kill me today.
でも先輩の反撃の方がすごかったですよ。
But Nakyu got me.
一瞬で寝技に持ってかれて。
But Nakyu got me in this wrestling hold.
これよさないか。子供のいる前で。
Enough. There are children around. I was getting a headache. Maybe it was low blood pressure that made me not a morning person. Finally, when Takeshi came back, conversation turned to breakfast.
つぐみと空がいないみたいだけど、いいのか？
Tsumugi and Sora aren't here. Well, Sora doesn't have to wake up, and...
そうだね。でもきっとそのうち現れるよ。
That's true, but they'll probably show up eventually.
まあ、あの二人なら、そうだな。
With those two, you're probably right. We all made our way to the kiosk.
みんな、ホットドッグでいいよな。
Okay with hot dogs?
ホットドッグ？
Every hot dog you eat takes 2 minutes off your life. No, I forgot. So, there was some press thing, like a couple months ago, that said, every hot dog you eat takes 2 minutes off your life, and every peanut butter and jelly sandwich you eat adds half an hour to your life. And so, And so I like to say, my takeaway from that is, if you manage to eat one peanut butter and jelly sandwich every 30 minutes, then your life would just go on forever.
ここにホットドッグなんかあったんだ。
They have hot dogs here?
冷蔵庫の奥に少しだけあったんだ。隠しメニューってやつだな。
It's hard to eat PB&Js while you're sleeping, so you end up only extending your life by about 60%. Well, I found a few in the back of the fridge, must have been on the stealth menu. With that, Takeshi disappeared inside the kiosk. Usually they call those the secret menu. Translation nonsense there. It looked like Takeshi would be chef for another day. But...
あれ
what in the... Takeshi had let out a surprised yelp from inside. Looking into the shop, there was Takeshi frozen in front of the freezer with the door open. The tuna's in there? What's wrong?
どうしたもこうしたもあるかないんだよ。
What's wrong is they are gone.
ない？何が？
Gone what are?
材料だよ。ホットドッグの材料。ここに入ってたはずのソーセージがなくなってるんだ。
The stuff, the hot dog stuff, the sausages that were in here are gone.
最初からなかったんじゃないの？
I'll bet they weren't there to start with. They got eaten by Coco.
いや、夕べまでは確かにあったんだって。晩飯作ってた時に見つけたんだからな。
No, they were here when I checked last night. I found them when I made dinner last night. You think they were stolen?
誰に？
By whom? I do know.
ちくしょう。一体誰だよ。人がせっかく。
He would do something like that. Takeshi slammed the door violently shut.
まあまあ、別に食料が底をついたわけでもないし、いつものメニューでいいんじゃないの？
Calm down, we're not out of food. We'll just go with the regular menu. Jeez.
そんなことより早くご飯にしようよ。私もうお腹ペコペコだよ。
Just forget about it and start cooking. I'm starving.
私も。
Me too. You and I were of the same opinion. We weren't expecting hot dogs to begin with, and I was hungry. Takeshi still looked peeved. Maybe it was because he was hungry too. The first thing we had to do was fill our stomachs. In the end, we gave up on hot dogs and went with our standby menu. Chicken sandwiches, question mark for no reason, for breakfast. When everyone had a Takeshi-made sandwich in hand, we sat down for a lively and fun breakfast together. You and Sora were especially boisterous. Takeshi said that the two of them easily made as much noise as 3 or more people. But that was just Takeshi being himself. The two of them never seemed to run out of things to talk about and kept jabbering away cheerfully about the most meaningless things.
ねえ先輩、覚えてます？うちの学校に小西って先生いるじゃないですか。
Hey, Nakyu, do you remember Mr. Konishi, that teacher in our school?
小西？ああ、コニーのことね。滑腹のいい無類の動物好きの音楽教師。
Konishi? Oh, you mean Koni, the music teacher who is built like a tank and a complete crazy animal lover.
そうそう、そのコニー。
Yeah, that Connie.
まだいるんだ。あの先生も長いね。
He's still there. He's been around for ages.
そのコニーがね、ついにこの間電子犬を買ったんですよ。
You know what? The other day he bought a robotic dog.
へえ、そうなの？あの大のメカ嫌いか？
No kidding, he did? That mechanic phobe?
ええ。何度も可愛がってたペットに死なれちゃって、その度に学校休んで。もう疲れちゃったんだと思いますよ。
Yeah, but his pets kept dying on him, and he'd take time off. I think it just wore him down.
私が学校にいた時は、クローンで蘇らせたりとかしてたんだけどね。
When I was still going to that school, he was trying to bring one of his pets back through cloning. Yeah, okay, yeah. Who's a clone of who? Well, Sora's not a person, so we can exclude her. I tend to think that, Sora is a clone of Tsumugi, because they might be both computer experts, and they're similar looking. But we know what from the Infinity series, the clones don't act and look alike at all.
結局そのクローンも病気にかかって死んじゃうんですよね。あの先生きっと呪われてるんですよ。
But that clone got sick and died too. I swear, he's cursed. They go, short telomeres, and then had this whole rant at the beginning of one of the episode's last game where it was like, that was the public's impression, but likely not what kills the clones early. Anyway.
そっか、あのコニーがね。今の電子犬って本物そっくりだから、機械ってことを意識しないで帰るのかな。
But really, that Connie, I tell you that robot dog looks so much like the real thing that I'll bet he is treating it like a normal pet.
そういえば、先輩の家にもいましたよね、電子犬。
Hey, didn't you have a robotic dog at your house?
うん、いるよ。本当はお母さんが飼ってるんだけどね。
Yep, sure do. Actually, it's my mom's, though.
ずいぶん古いタイプらしいんだけど、壊れることもなく元気にしてるよ。
I think it's one of those really old types, but it just keeps ticking along happily. It never breaks.
考えてみれば、マヨはうちに遊びに来たことなかったよね。今度おいでよ、見せてあげるから。
Thinking about it, Mayo, you never came to my house to play, did you? You have to next time. I'll show you it.
はい、そうですね。機会があれば。
Really sounds good if I get a chance.
こらこら、遠慮なんてしなくていいんだってば。私とマヨの仲じゃないの。
You can come over any time. We're friends, right?
ええ、もちろんですよ。
Yes, of course.
なあ、ところでよ、ちょっと聞いていいか？
Hey, can I ask you something? Just then Takeshi jumped into their conversation.
何？
What?
二人とも仲いいみたいだけど、どういった関係なんだ？
You two seem to be close, but how do you know each other?
あれ？言ってなかったっけ？
Oh, we didn't tell you? Takeshi shook his head as he gulped down cola. You and Sora were from the same school. You graduated already. I think she said she was at Kyumiken Girls High School until this last March. I answered for them, but you nodded. And when you was a senior, Sara entered the school as a scholarship student, you added. A scholarship student? I never heard that word before.
ひょっとして、裏口入学ってやつか？
You mean one of those people that sneaks in the back door?
何でもかんでも自分と一緒にしないの。
You always have such a twisted take on everything. Well, it might be accurate.
ちげえよ。俺はそんなせこい真似してないって。
No, I don't. I'm not half as mean-spirited as you.
私、もともと家庭の事情で高校に進学するつもりはなかったんだけど。
Due to my situation at home, I never really planned on going to high school.
でも、父が懇意にしている旧メーカーの学長が相談に乗ってくれて、特待生として通えることになったの。
But the principal of Kyumiken was a friend of the family and helped me in as a scholarship student.
要するに、その才能を埋没させてしまうのは惜しいってことだったみたいね。
We didn't want her unpolished genius to go to waste. It sounded like Sara was a bit of a prodigy and sort of famous.
ほー。
Whoa. Sara's amazing. This and the information from the day before about Sara's computer skills made me think that she was might be on a different level than the rest of us.
別に、
It's no
大したことないよ、そんなの。
big deal, really. Sara looked bored as she said it. Maybe it was no big deal for her.
でもよ、学校は同じって言っても、学年は違うわけだろ？
So you went to the same school but were in different classes?
ってことは、クラブか何かで一緒だったとか？
Were you on a team or in a club together or something?
そうだよ。
Yep.
私と先輩は新入生のクラブ会員をきっかけに知り合ったの。
Naki was the leader of the school club I joined as a freshman. Oh no, which club? It might just be like the robotics club. Because they're talking about robotics and, she's a programmer. After eating the sandwich, Sora held the pop can with both hands and gazed at the ceiling with a distant look in her eyes.
あれは今から1年前、
That was a year ago.
私が救命艦女子高等学校に入学して間もない頃の話。
Right after that, I entered Kumeaiken. It was a sunny spring afternoon after class. Cherry blossom leaves are back. Exact same asset, actually. A light wind made the cherry blossoms dance in the schoolyard as and dust gently tickled the nose. There were groups of new students walking packaged in starched new school uniforms and expressions full of nervousness and expectations. There were senior students eagerly calling out to them to join their clubs. It was probably a scene played out on most school campuses, and extremely annoying. As I let my imagination run wild, I was looking around the campus trying to get a feel for my new surroundings. All of the sudden, from among the din of voices and activity, someone called out to me.
Hey, そこの彼女!
Hey, you there. I stopped. Looking in the direction of the voice was a girl student, her face one big smile. From the ribbon on her uniform, it was clear she was a senior. Her hair was cut short enough that it just hit her ears. It also made her look like a go-getter. When I pointed at myself to see if she meant me, she nodded smiling.
そうそう、君のこと。
Yeah, I mean you. The smiling girl approached me.
ねえ、今暇だよね。
Do you have a minute? Sure you do, right? Yes, you would be the most obnoxious flyer pusher.
よかったら、ちょっちゅう私に付き合ってくれない？
If you are up for it, can I talk with you?
大丈夫。大して時間は取らせないから。
Don't worry, it won't take much of your time. What was it with this person? I wondered if she was trying to pick me up or... I had a bad feeling about the situation. Seeing my skeptical face, the girl with the bobbed haircut tried to explain herself.
あ、違う。決していかがわしいことを考えてるわけじゃなくって、私は単に。
Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to... I simply wanted
君
to...
も私たちのクラブに入部してみないかなってそう思ってるだけなの。
I was just wondering if you would like to join our club. So that was it. I wondered how many people had asked me the same question. I was pretty sick of the whole thing.
結構です。間に合ってますから。
No, thank you. I'm not interested.
ひょっとしてもうどこかに入部が決まってるとか？
Oh, really? Have you already decided to join somewhere?
いいえ。
No.
だったら。
Meldon!
いえ、私どこにも入部しないって決めてるんです。
Decide not to join anything.
もうそんなこと言わずに、せめてちらっとだけでも部室を覗いていかない？
Don't say that. Won't you come take a look at our club room?
遠慮しておきます。
No, thank you.
ほれほれ、そう思いつつもどんなことしてるか気になってきたっしょ？
Bet you're wondering what our club is all about.
ちっとも興味ありません。
Not in the least.
いいから取って食われるわけじゃあるまいし、ちょっと寄っていきなさいってば。
Okay. Just come take a look. We don't bite.
ですから。
I said...
つべこべ言わず黙ってついてきやがれ。
Listen, stop talking, shut up, and come with me. So that persistent senior dragged me to their club room, half by force. So, you was that girl.
いかにも。
You got it.
お前って今も昔もちっとも変わってねえな。っていうかまんまだ。
He hasn't changed a bit. I mean, you're exactly the same, you.
うっさいわね。あの時は必死だったんだからしょうがないでしょ。
Be quiet. I was desperate then. There was nothing else I could do. Why were you so eager to get Sarah to join?
それは部にとっては死活問題だったからよ。
It was a matter of life or death for the club.
存亡の危機に瀕してたの。
It could have been the end of us.
要するに部員不足で廃部寸前だったわけでござる。
It means they were short on members and were about to fold.
ああ、なるほどね。
Oh, I see.
何しろ、ナッキョ先輩を入れてたったの3人しか部員がいなかったでござるからな。
I mean, including Nakyu, there were only 3 members.
そりゃひでえな。
私はその年で卒業だったから、新入部員が入らなきゃそのまま廃部になるところだったのよ。
I was going to graduate that year, so we had to get new members or we would have had to close. Okay, so the minimum amount of members you needed was 3, and she was about to graduate, and that would reduce to 2, and then they would close. The minimum wasn't 4.
自分たちが苦労して築き上げてきたクラブがなくなっちゃうなんて耐えられないでしょ。
I just couldn't stand by and watch the club that we had built go to waste.
まあそれはわからないわけでもないな。
Well, I guess I see what you mean.
ということで、部の存続のために背に腹は変えられない状態だったのよ。
So it was the only choice I had if our club was going to survive. So exactly what kind of club was it?
それはもう健全で、かつ上層教育にも役立つ、知的で人生にとっても有益なクラブよ。
We were a robust model of an intelligent beacon of education while working in the public interest.
おお。
Wow. Takeshi took a swig of his cola.
で、具体的な活動内容は？
And what did you guys do?
ハッキング。
We were hackers.
いきなり吹き出さないでよ。
Geez, that's gross. You spewed cola everywhere.
アホか！ハッキングのどこが健全だっつうんじゃい。
Stupid, hacking is not robust and certainly isn't in the public interest.
なんでよ。
What are you talking about?
犯罪だろうがそれは。
It's a crime, that's why. Actually, I like to argue with everything, so I blurt stuff out that's negative sounding.
アホはあんたの方でしょ。ハッキングは別に犯罪でもなんでもないの。
You don't know what you're talking about. Hacking isn't a crime.
あ？そうなの？
Huh? You sure? Takeshi looked at me. His eyes said, what the heck is she talking about? I always say I get it. Oh well, I figured that I'd have to explain it. Takeshi, listen. Originally, hacking as a word meant the rhythmical manipulation of a computer. Actually, I thought it originally meant carelessly cutting meat, but whatever. People that could do this were called hackers. That evolved into the word hacker for technicians and research computer experts. Probably what you're thinking about is the hacking they talk about in the news, meaning a crime committed using a computer. Like when someone steals secret information or destroys data via a computer. But that's a mistake. The kind of thing is called cracking. It's completely different. And the people that do this are known as crackers. You need to make a distinction between them. What? What's the matter, everybody?
ねえ、少年って。
Hey kid, you got the words mixed up.
本当に記憶喪失か？
Are you sure you've lost your memory?
まあ、とにかくわかった？要するにハッキングと犯罪は正しい意味では何の関連性もないの。
Well, anyway, you get it now. There is really no connection whatsoever between the word hacking and criminal activity.
あれはコンピューター技術の向上を目的とした知的な集まりだったんだからね。
It was an intelligent gathering for us to gather to try to boost our computer skills.
へいへい、俺が悪うございました。
Oops, excuse my ignorance. I'm just surprised that you was involved in an indoor club.
ああ、私ね、掛け持ちしてたの。他にもいろいろやってて、全部で7つくらいかな。
Oh, I was doing all kinds of things. All said, I must have been involved with 7 groups. Wow, I see.
それで結局、サラはそのまま入部したわけだ。
And Sora just joined right up then, huh?
うん。
Nope. You didn't?
そこでおとなしく入部しないところがマヨのマヨたるゆえんなのよ。
She didn't join the club without a fight. Mayo was Mayo after all. With that ambiguous statement, you got a distant look in her eye and started to speak.
あの日マヨを部室まで連れ込むところまでは良かったの。
That day, I could have taken Mayo to our club room,
でも
but slide.
さあどうぞ。ここが我らがハッキング同好会の部室よ。
So this is our hacking club room. Go on in.
どうしたの？遠慮しないで入ってよ。狭いところだけどさ。
What's the matter? It's kind of cramped, but ahead.
本当に狭いですね。
I don't know why it's last names all of a sudden. It really is cramped.
まあね。
Well, I suppose.
それにものすごく物が多い。
You have tons of stuff.
まあね。
I suppose.
要するに入れないって言ってるんですけど。
I mean, there's no way I'll fit in there.
まあね。
I suppose not, ha ha ha. Like always, our little one-room club room was so cluttered there was nowhere to even walk. Several computers and a steel rack covered the three walls, and the floor were covered in tangles of cables. In what of an open space there was, computers without covers and bound-up printouts were piled high. A stuffed animal bumblebee, a button with a picture of a nuclear missile blasting off, an unidentified object X, and other stuff were scattered around, almost completely covering the floor. If Mayo had been a clean freak, we would have lost her right
あ
there.
れ、ナキュ先輩、その子ひょっとして新入部員？
Naku-senpai, is that a new member? The girl stood from in front of a computer, her chair nearly buried. She was the head of the club. She always wore glasses with black frames and kept her hair in 2 braids. That might be a reference to some previous game, like maybe Memories Off or something, but I don't know the reference. Her name was, I forgot.
そうだよ。これでなんとか廃部だけは免れたね。
That's right, we just barely avoided having our club fold. So, as I answered her, I hopped from one open inch of floor space to the next into the room.
私まだ入部するとは。
Haven't decided to join yet. Sora was still contemplating how best to enter the
と
room.
ころで相方は？
So where is your
今
partner?
日は風邪で欠席っす。
Out with the cold.
あ、そう。流行ってるみたいだから気をつけないとね。
I heard one is going around, you gotta be careful.
こんなところに長い時間いたら具合が悪くなって当然だと思いますけど。
Hanging out in a place like this, it'd be even more strange if you didn't get ill. Sora gingerly entered the room as if searching for one foothold and then another. Every step she took, her footprints were punctuated with a crunching noise, as if something were breaking. Of course, we didn't pay any attention to it.
それじゃあ早速実地体験といきますか。どうぞ座って。
Okay, now is your chance to get a sense of what our club is all about. Please sit down. I unearthed a chair from a pile of junk and gestured to Sarah to sit.
私部屋を見に来ただけですから。
Only here to look.
まあまあいいから騙されたと思って触ってみ。意外と面白いから。
Alright. If you still have doubts, just give it a try. It's pretty fun.
その前に一つ聞いてもいいですか？
Can I ask you something first?
なんなりと。
Anything.
このクラブハッキング愛好会でしたよね。
This is a hacking club, right?
ハッキング同好会。
Yes, it is.
でもその割に画面に映ってるのただのゲームみたいなんですけど。
But it looks like the only thing on the screens are games.
そこなんだな。
Well, that's true. I crossed my arms and nodded seriously several times.
実はハッキングとは名ばかりで、現役の部員にはまともにプログラミングできる人がいないのだよ。
Actually, we just call ourselves a hacking club, and none of our current members can really program.
できる人はみんな卒業しちゃってね。
Everyone that could graduated.
まあ、ゲームとはいえ、コンピューターのいろはを学ぶ意味においては、パソコンに慣れ親しんでおくのは悪いことではなく。
Even games can have meaning. They aren't bad for helping you get used to computers. Yes, if you build your computer for gaming, or you play really old games that you have to manipulate things to get them to run. Otherwise, no.
何
Yes, what is it?
今のうちに言っておきますけど、私に関わるとろくなことないですよ。
I'll be upfront about this. Getting involved with me will only get you into trouble.
ですから、
I mean...
また何言っちゃってるんだろうね、この子は。
Oh. Morning, kid.
部の存続の危機なんだから、メリットこそあれど、デメリットなんてないない。
Look, we're in danger of losing our club as it is. Nothing could be worse than you not joining.
これ、触ってもいいんですか？
Do you mind if I touch this? Sarah pointed at the keyboard.
あ、どうぞどうぞ。操作の仕方はね、
Oh, be my guest. You operate it by, why is you capitalized? I don't think that's supposed to be You's name there.
結構です。わかりますから。
I'm fine. I know how to use it. She sat on the chair, took the mouse, and stared at the monitor. She opened several files, finding the one she was looking for. She opened it up and started editing it. She didn't even glance at the keyboard, she just tapped non-stop. The speed of her touch typing was incredible. Wow.
すごい。
Amazing. When she had finished typing, Sora opened a different piece of software and started typing commands. The hard disk whirled to life and finally... Wow. Suddenly the face of a bumblebee appeared on all the monitors in the room. That face stared out at us and winked. Then all the faces stuck out their tongues at us. What?
何これ？このパソコン、操作を受け付けない？
What's going on? I can't get this computer to listen to me. The next instant, all the computers suddenly shut down at once. The two of us stood there stunned. Finished, Sora stood up and said quietly,
わかったでしょ？
You get it now?
私に関わると、ろくなことがないの。
Nothing good can come from hooking up with me.
だから、
So don't. And then she left.
あれ、
What in the...
どうしたの？
What happened?
パソコンが立ち上がらないんですよ。
The computer won't boot up. It's like, I somehow figured out a way to just clear the CMOS, okay? Just... probably didn't know how to do that, though.
電源のコードが抜けちゃったんじゃないの？
You sure it's not unplugged?
そういうんじゃなくて、電源が入ってるのに起動しないんです。
That's not it. It's plugged in, but it won't start up.
え？
Huh? She meant that the software had been destroyed. She would have to wipe the BIOS chip. And the problem wasn't limited to just one machine. All the computers in that room that were connected to the network were in the same state.
まさか、あの子、あ
No way, that girl...
の短時間で、ここのシステムをクラッキングしたってこと？
Could she have cracked the whole system that quickly? Looking down there was a stuffed animal bumblebee glaring up nastily at me.
マジっすか？
No kidding.
マジよ。
No kidding.
たく、とんでもねえ女だな。
Geez, that's crazy.
だって、あの時の先輩とんでもなくしつこかったから。
Well, Nakyu senpai was so persistent it was annoying.
だからってよ。
Yeah, but you didn't have to. So Sara didn't join? What? Then that would mean that...
逆よ、その逆。入部しなかったなんて言ってないでしょ？
No, you got it backwards. I didn't say she didn't join, did I?
その後先輩ったら、毎日のように私のところまで押しかけるようになったの。
After that, Nakyu came bothering me like every day. Even though she did that to your computers?
されたからよ。
Because she did that. Basically, you had been taken by Sara's genius. by her genius for programming. Day after day, her fixation drove her to call on Sora. Finally, Sora was overwhelmed by Yu's enthusiasm and joined the club.
こうして私とマヨの付き合いは始まったってわけ。
That was how Mayo and I became friends.
ニンともカンとも、ニンニン。
Doki. With that long story finally over, we all stretched.
さて、食事も済んだことだし、会議室にでも戻るとしますか。
Well, we finished eating. What do you say? Should we head back to the conference room? Sure. Tsumugi hadn't eaten, but there was no point in waiting around for her. Maybe she ate the hot dogs, you don't know. We took her sandwich back to the conference room.
私はちょっとの間失礼させてもらうよ。
I'm going to step out for a bit.
え、どっか行くのか？
Oh, where to?
ちょっとね。
Just a little walk.
こらこら、女の子のプライベートに首を突っ込みすぎると嫌われちゃうぞ。
Hey, you keep poking your nose into a girl's privacy and she just might start disliking you. I think she already does. You shrugged and patted me on the head.
先輩、私は？
Senpai, what about me?
悪いんだけど、マヨも遠慮してくれるかな。
Sorry, Mayo, but I think I'll go alone.
はーい。
Okay.
ごめんね。すぐに戻るから。
I'm sorry, I'll be right back. You shot the dejected Sora a smile as she headed quickly towards the door.
おーい、どこ行っても構わねえけど、何かあったらすぐ戻ってこいよ。
Hey, I don't care where you go, but if something happens, you come right back. Well, me as the player do very much care where she went. You shot Takeshi a thumbs up on the way out the door. She was on the way to the conference room. Ah, I looked up at the ceiling. What's that? I had thought I had seen something for a second. But then, I had done a double take and I didn't see anything.
おい、どうしたんだ？
Hey, what's wrong? Even with Takeshi calling out to me, I couldn't tear my eyes off the ceiling. I wonder... I didn't know what it was, but I swear I saw something.
見た？何を見たんだ？
Saw something? Like what? Oh, well, I didn't really see it. I just have a bad feeling about the second floor. Somewhere.
何言ってるんだよ、お前。
What the heck are you talking about? I think we should check that floor one more time. Saying that, Takeshi slapped me on the shoulder. Suddenly I came back to myself.
あんま気にすんなよ。何かあれば、空があらかじめ警告してるはずだろ。
Don't worry about it. If something's up, Sora should warn us about it, right? Yeah, you're right, but still, Sora isn't exactly trustworthy.
お前も疲れ、溜まってるみたいだな。
Looks like I'm not the only one who's tired. Yes, I am too. Yeah. I wondered if that was really all it was. I tried to remember what I had seen while I was walking. But it was like waking up after a dream and having the dream slip away. I couldn't remember it. When we returned to the conference room, Tsumugi was there. And, to our surprise, she was eating. Oh. Oh my.
ああ！
Ah! The reason we were all so surprised was because Tsumugi was eating a hot dog. That was a lame resolution to that.
何？
What?
き。
You.
貴様か！
You thief.
何を怒っているの？
What are you so mad about? Tsumugi was indifferent. That just served to fuel Takeshi's
タ
fury.
ツタさんとばかりじゃうんざりだろうっていう俺の思いやりよ。お前は
Thought everyone was sick of chicken sandwiches, and here I was going to make, and you... Just calm down. I tried to calm him down, but Tsumugi just continued to munch on her hot dog without a care.
でもさすがに独り占めはずるいと思うよ。
I think that's pretty selfish of you to keep them all to yourself.
そうだ食い意地の張ったやつめ。
You selfish pig.
今にクジラみたいに太ってマリアナ海溝に沈んでいく羽目になるぞおい。
I hope you get fat like a whale and drown in the Mariana Trench, you dog. Well, because fat is typically less dense than water, typically it always is, the fatter you are, the more buoyant you are, which means the less likely you are to sink into the Mariana Trench.
独り占め
All to myself. Samuki polished off the last bite and turned to face Takeshi as she wiped her hands.
何を言っているのか意味不明ね。私が食べたのはこれだけよ。
I'm not sure what you're talking about. This is the only one I ate.
なんだと？材料は確かに人数分あったはずだ。
But when I looked, there was enough for everyone.
だけど今は一つ残らず消え失せてる。つまりはお前の胃袋の中ってことだろ。
And now they're all gone, in that soon-to-be fat stomach of yours.
さあね。数なんて覚えていない。
Well, I didn't really count how many there were.
ネズミにでもやられたんじゃないの？
Maybe the rats got him.
ごまかすんじゃねえよ。そのネズミってのはお前のことだろ。
Pathetic liar, the only rat here is you. Takeshi's fury only grew while Tamugi stayed calm. She brushed away the hair from her forehead and stood up quietly.
もう一度聞くけど、何を怒っているの？
I'll ask you one more time. Why are you so mad? Oh, the irony.
言ったろ。みんなの分まで食ったことに対してだ。
I told you it's because you ate everyone's food.
私も言ったはずよ。私が食べたのはこれだけ。
And I told you this is all I ate.
それに、
And besides, Sugimori glared at Takeshi.
あなたが怒っている本当の理由はそんなことなの？
Are you sure that this is the real reason that you are angry?
あ？どういう意味だよ。
What? What are you talking about? Yes, I have this problem with people a lot.
あなたの予定が狂ったことに対してではないの？
You sure it wasn't just because it threw off your schedule? Schedule?
おう、そうだとも。本来ならばみんなにご馳走するはずだったホットドッグがなくなっちまったんだからな。
Well, yeah, because the hot dogs that I wanted everyone to eat are gone now. Samugi stared unflinchingly at Takeshi. The two glared at each other. Sora and I were in no position to step in between the two. All we could do was watch to see what happened. It was then that suddenly a low metallic sound reverberated throughout the installation. It was a dull, muffled sound. Well, Tsurugi definitely lives at has a completely different view of what's going on than Takeshi does.
なんだ。
She thinks that the characters are part of something like they're all organized in some way. What was that?
少し揺れたわね。
This whole place just shook a little. The two turned their attention to the new situation, forgetting their fight.
なあ少年、今のは。
Hey kid, what was that? Oh, I don't know.
まさかさっきの嫌な予感とやらが関係してるのか？
Hey, this doesn't have anything to do with that bad feeling you had earlier, does it? Premonition number 2. I shook my head. I don't know, maybe we should ask Sora.
呼びましたか？
Did you call for me? Sora appeared into the air out of nowhere and descended in front of us.
ソラ
Oh, Sora.
おう、そら、どこ行ってたんだ？
Hey, Sora, where were you?
申し訳ありません。寝坊してしまいました。
I'm terribly sorry, I overslept. Sora looked embarrassed.
寝坊ってお前。
Overslept, but you're...
いや、それはひとまず置いといて。
Yeah, we'll save that for later. Hey, did something just happen? There was an awful noise just now.
フロアを支えるシャフトの一部に歪みが発生しました。
One of the shafts that supports this floor has started to warp. We didn't see any signs of it yesterday.
はい。事前の計算にはありません。海流の乱れに影響された模様です。
Oh yes, it wasn't in my calculations. It appears that as if the ocean currents may have influenced this outcome.
どのくらいやばいんだ？
How dangerous are we talking about here?
誤差の範囲内だと思いますが。いえ、待ってください。
Well, it should be within the margin of error, but no, wait a
ス
second.
バイトシュトックの倉庫。圧力制御用の配管に異常があります。
There's an anomaly in one of the pressure regulating pipelines at Zweetstock's warehouse.
圧力制御用の配管って？
What are the pressure regulating pipes?
レミューを覆っている多重隔壁、その内部の圧力調整を行っているパイプです。
These pipelines are responsible for adjusting the pressure inside the multi-layered bulkheads comprising Lemu.
万一これが破損していた場合、私の力ではこれを修復することができません。
If any of them should rupture for whatever reason, I am incapable of repairing them.
異常は軽微ですから緊急は要しませんが、倉庫の状況を確認いただいた方がいいと思います。お願いできますか？
The anomaly is only slight, so you shouldn't have to hurry, but I think it is best if someone goes to check on it. Would you please go for me?
ああ、任せてくれ。
Sure, leave it to me. Takeshi nodded right
しょうが
away.
ないわね。
I guess that's that then. What? I couldn't quite make out what Tsumugi had said. Then
私も行くわ。
I'll go too. She unexpectedly volunteered for the task.
つぐみ。
Tsumugi?
何？私がついていくのは不服？
What, you got a problem with me tagging along?
いや、そういうわけじゃねえけど。
No, that's not it. It's just I wasn't expecting that.
誤解しないで。事態が事態だけに一時休戦ってことよ。
Don't get me wrong. We've got a situation on our hands, so you and I will call a truce.
修理するなら工具類が必要なんじゃないの？私ならいろいろ扱い方を知ってる。
Well, if we're going to fix something, we'll need tools, right? I know my way around a workshop.
そうだな。わかった。頼むよ。
Alright, let's go.
私も手伝うよ。
I'll help
オ
too.
ッケー。じゃあ、サラも一緒に行こうか。
Okay, you can come too, Sara.
あれ、そういえば、ユウはどうしたんだ？あいつ、まだ戻ってこないのか？
So what happened with you anyway? She's not back yet? I wonder if she didn't notice the shaking just now.
いえ、そんなはずはないと思うのですが。
There's no way she could have missed that. Do you know where she is?
申し訳ありません。あいにくと現在、センサーの一部に支障が出ています。館内全域をチェックすることができません。
Sorry, unfortunately right now some sensors are out of order. I can't scan the whole complex. I wonder what happened to you. Just conveniently, by plot.
ねえ少年、先輩を探しに行ってくれる？
Hey kid, will you go look for Nakyu? Huh? Me?
うん。ちょっと心配なの。
Yeah, I'm a little worried about Senpai. I was also worried about Sarah and everyone going off suddenly like that. An extra set of hands couldn't hurt. Takeshi, I'll go have a look around for you.
よし、それじゃあ少年、任せた。
Alright, it's in your hands then, kid.
何か分かったら、レミを通じて私を呼んでください。
If something should happen, use Limit to contact me. Alright, see you later. I ran through the corridor kicking up spray as I went. Okay. I'm going to end it there. And I'll find you in the next one, I presume.